Hi, welcome to the Hyperfixated Fan. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Hunter.
Today we're going to talk about Heaven Official's Blessing or Tian Guan Sifu.
TGCF.
Yes.
If you have seen that jumble of letters online.
And you're like, what is that?
It is my most recent obsession, thanks to Rachel and my online friend that I've mentioned before, Media.
One of my biggest ones in the past 5 years.
I literally only finished the final book 2 weeks ago?
Really?
I think.
Gosh.
Very extremely recently.
Yeah.
And it hurt in the best way possible.
Yeah, it's awesome. So, Tian Guan Sifu, is the Chinese name, and it is by Mo Jiang Tongzhu, or MXTX, as you will commonly see referred to. That's the author. And it's like a pseudonym. We don't know like who the author actually is. Like, good for her.
Yeah, honestly.
You gotta remain anonymous in China or they'll get your ass for writing gay shit. Like,
alas, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but,
unfortunately.
They have written...
I think it's she.
She's written
I think that's confirmed.
3 major series that I'm aware of, and I believe
Yeah,
he's working on a 4th now.
Working on the 4th.
That have like gone crazy popular.
Very popular. Most popular things out of China in a while.
Yeah, the other one that I am familiar with, MDZS, Modao Zushi.
Modao Zushi. Otherwise known as Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation, otherwise known as the Untamed.
That will be its own set of episodes, which, speaking of, this one is going to take multiple episodes. We won't do them all in a row so we don't overload you, but like, it's gonna take a lot of, like I said, there's 8 books. There's 8 books. I mean,
there's
Rachel,
8 books to Hunter. Like,
yes, because I read them in the like anglicized English translations put into neat like books for me to read.
English versions. When I read it, it was online only, like web translation. So there was 5 books, and each one was like super long, and like the whole thing is super long.
So yeah, like we said, it'll be broken up a whole bunch.
Yeah, we're trying right now to like limit ourselves to like the main plot, because there's like other side plots going on and side ships going on, and we'll probably do that later.
I'm so attached to all of them.
Yeah,
but this one will focus on our 2 main boys.
Yeah, the main characters.
Hua Chang and Zhe Lian.
Yep.
Who the main character is Zhe Lian. It's like he's the focus. It's in primarily his point of view. It's technically outside in that like sometimes we don't even necessarily know what he knows.
Yeah, it's third person.
It's third person assuming what he knows.
Yeah.
Which makes for some fun jokes in which like I assumed he was an idiot about one particular issue I was talking with Rachel about earlier, where I was just like, oh, this poor fool, he doesn't know yet, but he knew the whole fucking time.
You get his point of view of like feelings like sometimes, but not all the time. So
it's wonderful.
It's really good how she does that. It's like third person POV semi-limited. Like,
yes, it's wonderful. To give a brief summary, again, starting as we usually do.
A brief summary of the whole plot?
No, just a brief summary of like the premise.
Okay,
yeah,
even
I cannot, no, the brief, very briefest premise.
Okay.
Zhe Lian is a god.
Yeah.
This is his 3rd ascension.
Yeah.
He's 800 years old.
Yeah.
And he just does it how he does it, and the rest of the world can kind of deal with it a little bit, but he's just like, nah, I'm just here to do my thing, and I'm gonna go hang out in my little shrine that I've picked up in the mortal realm.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, when he goes to like do a job because he doesn't have any merits, doesn't have any like
money.
No one worships him. He doesn't really have any credit. Doesn't have any money. So he goes to like help out. He meets a mysterious stranger, all in red, who seems to know him more than he knows them. And hence we have now met Hua Chang, the great and powerful, one of the great and powerful ghost kings.
The best one.
The best one. And then it's just an adventure of finding out who Hua Chang is to Zhe Lian and their history together and apart, and them
There's
falling
a bunch of
in
stuff
love.
that happens.
And or having them already have fallen in love.
Yeah. So the way that the book is written is non-linear. So extremely non-linear. So books 1, I wrote this down. Books 1, 3, and 5 are in the like as I'm thinking of them. Because in the actual like English books it's kind of like split up between the volumes.
Yeah,
so
some
it's
of it
not very
covers goes between.
So 1, 3, and 5 are in the present timeline, like the shit that's happening now, and then books 2 and 4 are like flashbacks.
Yes. Man, do they hurt.
They hurt so bad.
Oh,
we'll talk about that. I want to save that. But so it is a really long book. I actually Googled this because the rumor was, I've heard this rumor since like the early days of TGCF on the internet. The rumor was TGCF is longer than the Bible.
I believe it.
And that provided a lot of memes of like, oh, we're taking TGCF to church, like we're reading it in the pews, like sort of thing. It's really funny. But I looked it up, and okay, so the like original word count is 750k, so 750,000 words, which is a lot.
Yeah,
but
that's
with
significant.
all of the extras added on to that, extras. It's 795k, so it's almost 800,000 words.
Yeah, that's hefty.
And I did Google it. I Googled how long is the Bible, and the Bible's only 600k.
Yeah, it's short.
Like, depending on
it's
the
short.
translation, of course,
well, yeah,
because
obviously,
language and words, but generally, so TGCF confirmed the rumor is true.
No, that's...
It's true.
No, that's like less than a page. 600,000?
600k.
Oh, okay. I was like, no way.
I said the K.
Sorry, I misheard. That's on
okay.
me.
But the rumor's true. Like, TGCF is longer than the Bible, so
yeah.
Funny. To me, it's very funny.
Yeah, the Bible's less than a page long, actually.
Yeah, that's all you have to read.
Just like, here's a quick synopsis.
But
my bad, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Let's see. So, that's the book. So, the book is all done. It's all out.
Full content. It's all finished.
The Donghua, which is the Chinese anime, it's the Donghua, is what it's called. That is only 2 seasons long right now, and it only covers, like, the first book.
Yeah, and or if you're thinking about it in the, like,
arc.
the English, like, books, it's the first 2 books.
Yeah.
So far, the seasons have divided with the English book divisions.
Yeah,
which worked out great for me. Because I was like, nice, it cuts off right at the end of book 1.
But
Season 2 cuts off right off at the end of book 2. But it worked out. I mean, it does work out storytelling-wise.
Storytelling-wise, like, the pacing is good because they're, like, doing a lot of, like, they're paying attention to everything that happens. But the thing is, so much shit happens, like, it feels like it's taking so long to me.
I mean, yeah, there's still 6 more books to go.
Like, it's so much, and I'm like, man, I just want them to get, like, further along, but it takes so long.
But you gotta take your time with it.
They are taking their time.
There's so much history to these guys that they have to, like, get all of it out there.
I'm just, like, concerned that, like, China's gonna, like, ban them, because it got, like, season 2 was very delayed, one, because of COVID, but also because, like, I think they were having trouble passing the censorship standards, and I was very concerned, because, like, they are not making this, like, a bromance, really.
Oh, no,
like, they're making
it's very
romance.
explicitly a romance.
Yeah, so I'm concerned that China's gonna get on it, because I don't know if you know about the live action of TGCF.
I've seen pictures of it, but I don't really know anything about the process of it, no.
So, it started, like, way back, like, when season 1 of the Donghua was first starting, I think. Like, they filmed, the whole thing is filmed. It's, like, filmed, but it's been, like, in the vault by China for, like, 5 years because it's, like, not passing censorship.
I mean, yeah, that tracks.
And it makes me so mad, and it sucks because it would be such a good story, and I, like, really want to see it because it exists out there. We just can't have access to it.
Yeah, I've seen, like, some of the actors, the costuming, the
looks
casting
so good.
looks phenomenal.
All we have is, like, behind the scenes photos, basically. We don't have any official
Chuan looks
stuff.
so adorable.
Yeah.
I will never get over that.
Yeah.
The, like, costuming and everything on Chuan and just, like, the big... Sorry.
It all
have
looks
so
really
much
good.
attachment to Chuan, which is not relevant for today's episode. That's gonna be a whole other episode. But oh god, I want to see that. But I think with the animation, because it already has such a, I mean, again, this is me completely uninformed, just my like little, also a strong solid dash of hope. I think because it has such a strong following, even if it does get dropped, I wouldn't be surprised if a studio in like another country
like
were to
Taiwan,
pick it up. Were to pick it up and continue the show.
Because I think, like, that kind of happened when season 2 got released. I don't think they released it in mainland China. I think they just released it in Taiwan.
That might be... That
and, like,
sounds
Singapore
right. Yeah,
and, like, all the other countries.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so I think that's what happened, if I remember correctly. So, hopefully, like, they'll just keep on that.
Yeah.
To kind of get around it. But it is very infuriating to me, the homophobia. But yeah, that's there, but definitely like the Donghua is so good. It's so good. I remember when the first season came out, I was like so pumped because at that point I had read the whole thing, and it was like so exciting. Like I had to go onto the Chinese website and like make a whole like account trying to decipher Chinese like and Google Translate it, and it was like so hard. Like people were making guides of like what buttons to click and stuff because we couldn't read it.
I lucked out because it was just like on Crunchyroll for me.
No, I had to go to the source and it was really good. And I remember watching the first episode like in my bed on my laptop, and I was like crying because the intro is beautiful.
Oh god, the intro sequences are
season
so
1
gorgeous.
though.
Both seasons are
good, but the season 1 intro holds a special place in my heart because like that's what I first saw come to life.
Yeah,
and that's what I had for like 3 years only. So it's just so good. And it's different from other, like, animes, traditionally, because, the opening song is slow, and it's musical, and it's romantic, and it's not, like, a shonen that's, like, super fast-paced pop song rap, you know? And it sets the whole tone, and, like... It's like, no, like, there's action in this. There's definitely action
there
in
very
this.
much is. But a lot of it also gets, like, talked through. It's not like... There is a fight... Like, Jillian is a martial god. That means, like, he gets a lot of... Like, he became a god in the first place because of his skill in
fighting.
Martial arts.
Yeah.
And, like, there are many martial gods that are major characters. And Hua Zhang, while not a martial god, is
very
incredibly skilled in fighting. So, like, fighting does happen, but a lot of the encounters that they have to face are emotional, and they're talked through, or they're negotiated, or they're argued, and it's which I love. Or like even
it's
if
not
they start
just, like,
fighting, it's
random fights throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It's so interesting to me.
And it's like above all, it's a romance. This is a romance. I've said this before. Like it gives me, I put it on the same tier as Hannibal, honestly. And like this is one of the most romantic things I've ever read. And also to pair with that with Hannibal, it's also very beautiful.
It is.
It's so beautiful.
It is. The art that they put in the books is incredible to me.
Yeah, the person who did the art is really good.
Yeah, and it's fun because you get sometimes little chibi style like bits, which is just like, oh,
very cute.
Look at little Julien, look at him. And then you sometimes get to these like stunning, like breathtaking bits, and you're just like, I want to just stare at this for the next 4 hours, actually.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then occasionally you get one where you're just like, it's really rude that you're that sexy. You shouldn't be allowed to do that in a book that I'm reading on an airplane surrounded by people.
It's funny. It's spicy at times.
I went through 2 of the most devastating arcs on an airplane.
Oh, God.
And I chose to do it with the second one. I knew it was coming.
Mm-hmm.
But the first one was Blackwater. And then the second one was like the finale. And I read that on an airplane.
Oh my God.
Surrounded by people.
Those aren't even the like worst parts to me. The worst part to me is book 4, like the 4th arc, the second flashback.
I mean, yeah, that was also on a plane.
My God.
But I was too busy like speed reading through it to just like deal with it. I was I'm ignoring
the trauma.
We're moving on.
Yeah.
I cannot deal with Muqing. I cannot deal with Fengjin. Roye, are you telling me this is where we get Roye?
Yeah.
No, I'm not dealing with this yet.
Yeah.
I've got places to be.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like, and that's something I really like about this book as well, is like, it makes you feel all of the emotions very intensely. Like,
Oh my
I feel so much
God,
love and
yes.
happiness when I think of this book and, like, when I read it, but also when I read it, I felt so sad and, like, painful, and just the angst was so deep.
The pain in it is like, it, and
Very,
a lot of the
very
time
deep.
it sneaks up on you, and not even like you don't expect it. Like, you know something bad is coming.
Yeah.
There's one arc, and it's not one we're gonna get into on this one because it's
Yeah.
a different character. But
It's a side one.
I remember I texted you because I had seen there's a little detail in it where there's a foreshadowing that something bad is coming.
Yeah.
And it's just a subtle little thing where it's a play on Chinese numbers and stuff like that.
Right.
And I texted Rachel, I was like, hey, I noticed this thing. Do I have to be worried this person's gonna die? And then we go on an arc that character comes on, and then sure enough, bad things happened, but in a way completely unexpected, and it did gut me, and I did cry, and it was
Yeah,
bad.
yeah.
And it was on an airplane.
Yeah.
and but it was just like, it's like the emotions like hit you incredibly hard because you get invested in not just like Julien, the main character, but in
Everyone.
Everyone. I mean, I can count on less than one hand the amount of characters that I don't feel for.
Yeah.
There are two characters. There are two characters, in fact, in the whole series that I
Who?
actively don't care
I'm
about.
gonna guess Pei Ming and...
No, I love Pei Ming. I love Pei
Okay,
Ming.
good.
I actively love Pei
I love
Ming.
Pei Ming as well, okay? Like, you don't...
Pei Ming is the love of my life.
He comes around, he's so funny.
God, I was so ready to hate that man at the start because like he's just
Nah.
like a misogynistic asshole.
That's
but
like
like he's my misogynistic asshole, and
first
he's an
impression.
ally.
He's such an ally, it's so funny.
Does he possibly hate women? Yes, but is he an ally to our gay
is the
couple?
biggest ally.
Yes, and he's
like-
also very scared of women. And I God, I ship him so much with Rainmaster.
The
like,
one woman he's like
the
afraid
one
of.
woman. I believe in it. I ship it. It's fine. It's good. It's strong.
Yeah, there's feelings there, which is why it's good.
No, I love Pei Ming.
Pei Ming is like, being a slut is like, love is love. Like, being a slut
Yeah!
is like, there's no boundaries.
Like, he's like, yeah, dude, like, you can be with anyone and maybe everyone.
yeah.
Let's
He's
go.
great.
I
He's
love him
great.
so much, actually. I was so ready to hate him.
But who don't you care about? I'm curious.
Junwoo.
Okay. I
And-
don't like that guy.
Yeah, hate that man. He can go die in a hole, and I would
Yeah.
laugh about it.
Yeah.
And then Shiwudu.
Yeah, he sucks too.
That guy fucking sucks.
Yeah.
I hate him so
He
much.
definitely sucks. He is like bad older brother.
He's the worst.
like
Bud.
yeah.
Like,
This is like one sibling pair that I don't like, of like Shiwudu and Shi Ching Xian.
Like,
Juan.
yeah, like,
I'm like, you're better off without him, and that it takes a lot for me to say that. So.
Yeah.
It
You love your
does.
sibling
I love the
pairs, and this
siblings.
guy
I just
fucked
don't
it
like
up.
this guy. Like he was the worst.
he fucked it up so bad.
He did, and then Junwoo sucks as well. And I remember like Hunter talking about him, and I was like biting my tongue the whole time. I'm like, I cannot say shit, like
God.
because I want to say so much. I'm like, I hate that guy. I hate
The
that
man
guy. But
listen.
that would make you question like, oh, why do you hate him? And it's
Listen,
like a major
I need you,
spoiler.
listeners, I need you to understand without like even getting into the worst of it, because there is so much worse than this. This is like scraping this. This is barely
He's
scraping the
the
surface. He
worst.
has a sword that detects if you're a virgin.
He's the worst.
And I need you, like, just think about that for a minute. Why does he own that?
Yeah.
Why? Why would he have a sword that detects if you're a virgin?
He's gross.
I just, and it's only for Julien. I believe this in my heart. It's
Yeah.
only so he can keep checking if that boy's a virgin.
He's such a creeper.
He's such a creep.
Ugh, he's the worst.
Oh God, I hate him
He's
so much.
literally the worst.
Lingwen is like on my list, but she has her moments.
Yeah, she has
so.
reasons that make little sense. So.
Media just says that she's the ultimate pick-me girl, and you know what? I'm like, that's pretty spot on.
Yeah.
So, but she has her moments, so I still like
Yeah,
you're not on the list, but you're like,
you're
close.
Yeah.
You're on thin ice.
You're close there.
Everyone else, though, it's like, okay, I can find, like, there's something. I have feelings for you in some capacity.
Yeah.
Those two, though, I just cannot stand.
Yeah.
So we're like 20 minutes in. Haven't, like, really talked about our main couple as, like...
We will talk about them, but, like, talking about the whole thing in general,
yeah,
too,
that's fair.
because...
I want you to know, almost all of my notes are strictly about them as a couple.
Okay,
so...
well, let me get through the general stuff
Yeah.
first. So, there's 5 books. I feel like maybe, like, if people are interested, we could, like, make one book an episode, because so much stuff happens.
I could do that.
I mean, I'm saying book, but, like, arcs.
Yeah,
you
the
know?
arcs. The arcs.
That would be cool. So, let me see. I'm, like, trying to get through all my notes.
No worries.
Honestly, like, when I was, because I think another reason why it would be good to, like, break it down into the arcs is because it's so long, I literally forget what happens.
There's so much.
There's so much that happens.
There's so much.
I, like, forget except, like, the main stuff. So, like, Hunter would be reading it for the first time and be like, oh, this just happened. I'm like, what? Like, I forgot about that.
What is that? I don't remember that.
Thing that stuck in my brain. So I was like,
and I'm like, holy shit, this thing just happened. It's wild. She's like, I have no recollection.
Yeah, and then it's like,
She's
oh,
like,
this
that's
one
nice,
character I really like, and I'm like, oh, I forgot that guy existed.
God.
So it's just very long, but it's really good. And I also think, talking about how it's a non-linear story, I usually don't like non-linear stories, but this one is done very well. And I think that's why I like it, is because, like, the reveals that happen, and, like, you figure out, like, why the people are, like, how they are, and, like, all their motivations and their feelings, like, it's paced very well. So I like that part of it.
See, I do like a good non-linear story. I mean, if it's done well.
Yeah.
Like, and that's something that I think this author does well, because it's also a non-linear storytelling in MDCS. I have not read SVSS.
Scum Villain.
Yeah, Scum Villain. But I do look forward to doing it at some point, because I understand it's got some pretty wild vibes.
I'll read it at some point. I tried to read it, like, online before it was published, and the English translation was so wonky I could not understand what's happening.
Yeah, I hope to read that eventually.
Yeah.
But I like how this writer handles timelines, because it's very fun, because she'll drop in a detail. I remember there was a part... I'm gonna keep referencing... There's these 2 characters that are Julienne's
Friends.
Back in the day besties. Now in present day, there's some awkwardness, and you get to learn more about it. He still absolutely thinks of them as kind of like, yeah, we're friends. There's some tension, but it's fine. And there's a whole lot of complications involved. It doesn't matter. Fengjin and Muqing. And where was I going with this story? Oh my god. Okay, yes. During the Festival of the Lanterns, at one point, there's mentions of, like, they perform these plays. And they're like, well, if usually the plays for, like, these 2 involve Julienne as some kind of villain in their backstory, like, as they brutalized Muqing as his servant, or he took away Feng Jin's lover, and I was like, his fucking whom?
What?
His what? His beloved. What? This man is afraid of women. Canonically, women are his biggest fear, which, first of all, that is a true statement. His biggest fear is women, and I think that's hilarious, this poor man. Anyway, they said that, and I just remember...
Talk about internalized heterophobia.
Right. So I remember screen capping that, sending that picture to both Rachel and media, and being like, I'm sorry, his fucking whom? And they were like, lol, anyway.
Yeah,
and I was like...
comment.
I was like, no, what does that mean? And it was just like a lovely little note that they just left there. With no explanation, they just moved on with the rest of the scene. I was like, you can't just say that.
Yeah.
What beloved? He's afraid of women.
Yeah.
Did he have a boyfriend? Did he have a boyfriend 800 years ago? He didn't. Turns out he had a wife 800 years ago.
You had to wait to find out, though.
He had a wife.
Yeah.
And a baby.
Yeah.
To be fair, he didn't know about the baby.
Yeah.
But also, I'm still mad because the world didn't know about the wife because, like, no one... Yep. That was truly just a thing that people made up for the plays.
Really?
Like, yeah,
But it
because
was like a little like Easter egg.
it was a little Easter egg
Okay.
for me, the reader, but like also it's just rude because
Yeah,
like
for sure.
people just made that up for the plays to
Yeah.
create drama, but they
Yeah.
were right about it,
Yeah,
and
they were.
I'm mad.
It's funny.
I was thinking about that today when I was like
Yeah.
going through my screenshots
Yeah.
of text.
That's
Anyway,
fair. But there's a lot of like
But,
little
yeah.
clues like that, especially
Mhm.
like even in that same scene of like the Lantern Festival or whatever.
Yes.
There's a lot of Chuan Yuzhen and Yin Yu stuff
yeah,
that you don't understand until like so much later.
And you,
I love both of
Yin
them
Yu.
so much.
Guan Yuzhen.
I love Chuan Yuzhen so much.
God, I remember the first time you really get to like deal with him, and it's
Yeah,
like
he's funny.
when I think it was when they the crew
They come
like
up from the
digs up
floor.
into Guan Yuzhen's bedroom. They've got Pei Ming with
Yeah.
them. And Guan Yuzhen just like wakes
He-
up, sees a bunch of like guys in his bedroom, and he's just like, huh. And then just launches himself at Pei Ming, ignores the rest of them, just starts beating up Pei Ming because he hates that guy.
Yeah, he like threw his bed at him.
Yeah. And I was just like, I love this guy.
I love him so much. Like, I won't go too far off of topic on him, but like, he has one brain cell. He is like canonically not smart at all. He's like
Yeah.
very stupid. But like,
They describe him as,
his
like,
heart is in the right
childish.
place. Yeah.
Yeah, I just
And
remember.
I
No,
just-
sorry, you finish
I
your
just
thing
love
first.
him so much. No, that's enough. Like,
Wonderful. He's pretty.
I
They
love
describe him
him.
as just like the only descriptor they really use for him are like
Curly
they call
hair.
him curly hair and childish.
curly hair child.
Yeah, and I just remember I think it was after the scene with him throwing the bed at Pei Ming, and I sent that screenshot to media as well, and I was just like, I love
He's
him.
great.
This one's my new fish. She
Yeah.
goes, you would be a Guan Yuzhen girly. I'm
I
like,
am.
I am nothing
I am.
if not predictable,
Yeah.
okay?
He also just like tries to give Xi Lian all his money, like just randomly.
He sneaks into his temple and just like shoves gold
Like,
bars
why are
and
you
the
doing
donations.
this?
It's like, buddy, he doesn't want that.
It's so funny.
He's so
cute.
sweet.
He's so cute. And then he like eats some food that he doesn't know. Like Jillian's food is like toxic. And
He is
just,
the worst cook in the world.
He passes
It
out.
will kill you, potentially.
It's so funny.
I'm pretty sure the only reason Guan Yuzhen survived that is because he's a god.
Yeah, definitely.
God, it's so funny.
It's so funny. Okay, so some differences I want to talk about from the web novel to like the English translation.
tell me.
So, first of all, the I'll go like in order of like how it was like released, not
Yeah.
chronological, obviously, because it's out of chronological order.
It's very out of chronological
Um,
order.
But the part in the sad book 4, where Xi Lian gets like stabbed by a bunch
God,
a
that
sword.
scene!
Yeah, it's really sad. It's very emotional, but
Stabbed
the way,
100 times.
yeah, and in the English published book, they say it as like it hurts in italics and just like repeated for like
Yeah,
a
it's, like,
few
almost a
like only
full
like a
page.
paragraph or something, or like a page or whatever.
Yeah, it's a lot.
In the web like translation of it, the original web translation of it, they put that in all caps and they had it for like 3 pages.
Oh.
So it
Oh,
was so
God.
much more intense and emotional originally.
I will never get over the fact that he chose the sword that stabbed him 100 times
The symbolism.
as his own sword when he was like hanging out in Yong'an and like advising the
using it
Yong'an
now.
royalty, and then like
Got rid of it after that, understandably, and then like picks it up,
Picks it
again.
and he's fine, quote unquote, and
And
it's
he's just like fine with it for a while,
the symbolism
maybe.
of like carrying around your trauma and like healing from your trauma and like being able to move forward with it.
And also he renamed it like Beautiful Woman or something.
I don't know that translation.
It was one of the footnotes in the books. It's just like, yeah, he names it something like Beautiful Woman, or I have to find it again.
Okay,
but,
interesting.
which I thought was so funny. It's just like,
Yeah.
it's not like torture death or whatever, like whatever
Torture
Junwo
porn.
named it. Yeah, it was like,
Yeah.
it was something like horrific, and he's just like, what if I called it like Pretty Lady?
Yeah.
What if my sword is just like a pretty woman?
That's funny.
I wonder if I could find this screenshot. Not right now. I'll
Um,
put it in the Discord later.
Yeah.
Because I think it's hilarious.
Yeah. This is also something I want to dig through and find eventually if I ever have the time to sit through and dig through it, but this is another difference between the web novel and the book. in the part of the Cave of 10,000 Gods,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like all statues of Xilian that Huachong did,
Mm-hmm.
and this is like when they figure it out, and when they're like going through and like looking at the murals and everything. This is Xilian, Fengshen, and Muqing. And there's a part like Fengshen and Muqing are so freaked out. They're like, oh my god, this guy's a pervert, he's been stalking you and all this shit, and they're like cussing. But when it gets to the part of that one mural that like they won't let Xilian see, and like we as the reader
you can't
don't
come
know
look
what
at
it
this
is.
statue. Actually, do not look.
Don't look. And like in the book, like the English book, it's like again like italicized, and there's like a few fucks thrown around. It's like, oh my god, this is fucking disgusting, like don't look is italicized. But like in the actual web novel, I love this part way more because they have it again in all caps, and it's like, don't fucking come look, this guy's fucking crazy, oh my fucking god. Like there's a lot of fucks, and it's in all caps, and it's amazing.
I can absolutely picture like Feng Xin doing that, but Muqing losing his head and
They
not to
both
do that
lose
is
it.
the funniest
It's
fucking
amazing.
thing.
So I need to like go back and like find it and
Please
like
do
screenshot
and send it
It's
to me.
so
Oh my god,
funny.
that's so funny.
It's so funny.
Oh, I love it.
I'm sure I think I still have the web book saved on my phone somewhere, so I'll go back and find it. But...
Can I tell you about one of the extras that pertains to that real quick?
Yeah.
So Rachel has not read all of the extras. I have recently. So in one of the extras, they go back to the Cave of 10,000 Gods, and this is after Xilian has recovered all of his spiritual power, and he's still learning to like rein it all in again.
Okay.
Because again, he has not had this much power in like
he's not used to it.
800 years.
Yeah.
It's been a long time, so he's just kind of bleeding out
Yeah.
as he's looking at like the thing is he talked to Huachong. He's like, I want to go back and look at them.
Yeah.
And Huachong's like, great. Yeah, we'll do that tomorrow.
Yeah.
And he's like, great, cool. Anyway, time for bed. They go to sleep. He wakes up in the middle of the night. Huachong's not there. And he's like, God damn it. I bet I know where he is. He goes to the cave, finds Huachong there, but as he's trying to find Huachong, he realizes with his power bleeding out, he's brought the statues to life.
Oh, cool.
Like, he did with his giant Voltron statue.
Yeah.
And he's just like, oh, look, all of these Xilians are here. Here's a young Xilian, like, over here playing a game all by himself. Here's a slightly older Xilian on a swing, but there's no one to push him. And here's this Xilian, like, the flower god Xilian, and no one around to be with him. And, like, he's just, like, they're all here, and then there's, like, the drunkard Xilian with his jug of wine at the grave, and no one to mourn with him, and that sort of thing. And he's just, like, noticing all the gods, and he, like, talks a little with them, mostly just being like, have you seen a guy in red?
Yeah.
Can you point me in his direction? They all do. And eventually he finds Huachong is, like, very frantically working on a new statue of a Huachong, and he's like, hey bud, how's it going? And he's like, hey, I kind of sorry, I sort of thought this might happen with the coming alive, and there's one statue you haven't seen yet. You remember the land of the tender?
Yeah.
You remember that? We have one of those, and oh, I just heard a crash. I think that one ran away. But I was hoping to make a me to take care of that one so that it wouldn't be an issue. But basically, the Xilian of the land and tender did just basically freak out and panic and run away. And the only thing a Xilian of that age would know to do is to go find Feng Xin and Muqing. So it's gone to the heavenly realms.
Oh no.
With all the power it has now. It just shows up in Muqing's garden like half stripped.
That's horrible.
So they show up with the Huachong statue now, and they're like, hey Muqing, buddy, can I just like borrow your garden for a minute?
Yeah.
Just like shut the door, slam the Huachong out there, and let them take care of that issue. But then they like make Hua Chong statues for all the Xilians.
That's so cute.
And so, like, the one on the swing gets a Hua Chong to push him, and the one with the jug of wine gets, like, someone to comfort him, and the little kid gets someone to play with him.
That's so romantic.
And so they just make Hua Chongs for all the Xilians.
That's so cute. I love
And then
that.
the, like, one from the Land of Tenders now gets a perpetual lever to deal with that little issue.
Of course.
But yeah, Mooching's like, why does this have to be in my garden? I
so
don't want to
funny.
see this. I don't want to know it. Can I leave?
Yeah.
It's like the worst day of his life. And Hua Chong's just like, deal with it.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's
funny.
That's I just really
10,000
needed you to
gods part.
understand. Yeah, like I needed you to know that,
Nice.
like, canonically, Mooching has had to deal with one of the 10,000 god statues, the one he hated the most.
That's hilarious.
Fucking in his backyard.
That's great.
Sometimes the extras are wonderful.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so
Yes, back to information. Not just silly stories.
well, this is a translation one that you probably know. But the names of the Supremes,
Yeah, they shift a little
they
through
do
translation.
shift a little. So there's 4 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll start from the bottom, I guess. Chi-Rong is
Fucking Chi-Rong.
I think it's Night Touring Green Lantern or
Mhm.
something. But I think, like, what I always thought of it as, and this might just be me, like, thinking of it this way, but it's like, I mean, like, Green Ghost, Green Cannibal is, like, his nickname and everything, but that one's fine. The other one of, Blackwater.
Blackwater.
So, Blackwater, Heijuan, I don't remember what it is. What is it like now?
That's a good question. That
Yeah.
I can look it up super quick while you tell me what.
Okay, because
The
the
next
one
information
that
is.
the original translation of it was so badass, I think. It's Blackwater sinking ships.
Oh yeah, that's
What
the
it is
that's
now?
what it is.
Okay,
Yes.
good, because I've heard it like in being translated different ways, but that's my favorite way to translate
I like it. I think it sounds so ominous.
Yeah, it is. It's so cool.
And this cool little bone skeleton fish.
Yeah, it's cool.
Love it. Big
And
fan.
then Hua Chong's title is Crimson Rain Sought Flower. That's
Mhm.
also been translated as like
Yeah, we saw
red
another
rain reaching towards a flower or something
something
like
along
that.
those lines. Yeah, we saw
Um,
another translation like that today.
Yeah, but Crimson Rain Sought Flower is my favorite one.
Yeah, I like that.
And then for White No Face by Wu Xiang, I mean, I call him White No Face because that's the original translation. I like that the best because it's the
Mhm.
most unsettling.
It's creepy.
Is
I
that what
call
they-
him white calamari
White Calamari.
because a lot of times in the book it was just the white calamity.
The White Clothed Calamity.
White clothed
Yeah.
calamity, and then I one time had an autocorrect change calamity to calamari, and then I was like, he doesn't deserve to be called calamity because I hate him so much. So he was white calamari from then on out.
But I still call him White No Face because that's what it was
Yeah.
originally. That's what I saw, and like I think it's so unsettling.
Yeah, I mean, he's bad to look at. He's scary as all hell. For a while, he didn't say anything really, and then the first time he spoke actual words, I was
Yeah.
like, okay, you lost a little of your intimidation factor. And then he like kept saying words. I was
And they
like, okay,
were
these
way
words
more
are really
creepy.
bad. Actually,
Yeah,
stop
yeah,
talking.
literally.
Because it was all like, oh, I'm the only one who cares about you. I'm like, you need to fucking back up.
It's like
Actually,
the worst stalker
he
in
is.
existence.
I hate him.
Like Hua Chong is a quote unquote good stalker.
I mean, you're not wrong.
But like he's not even a stalker because like he just like kind of follows Julian from far and like he just wants the best for him. Like he's
Yeah.
content to never interact at all.
Yeah.
He just wants to do what's best for him. Whereas like by Wu Xiang / White No Face / Jun Woo is like, no, I'm gonna like
I'm gonna
insert
turn
myself.
you into me.
Yeah, I'm gonna fuck you up.
I'm gonna fuck you up until you're just
because
like
I'm
me.
obsessed with you.
God,
like
I hate that fucking man.
it's the worst.
I would kill him myself if I could.
Yeah, but
Ugh, I hate him.
the like parallels, the contrast between
it's so
Hua Chong
interesting,
and White No
absolutely.
Face is very interesting. It's very cool.
Yeah, because they both follow Jillian
Yeah.
from
The
childhood, essentially. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess Hua Chong more from teenhood.
teen, but still.
But still, like from a very young age,
Mhm.
one with awe and admiration
Yeah.
and love, and then one with
obsession.
Well,
and
both with obsession.
Yeah.
But with resentment
bad obsession.
and a need to possess
Yeah,
and a need
possession,
to
yeah.
change and twist.
There's also resentment for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Like resentment, that's his own issues.
God,
And
he could never let go that he like
Fucked up.
failed at a
fucked up.
task.
And he's projecting.
And he's like, so I will make sure you do as well,
He's
and
the
I
worst.
will make sure that hurts you as bad as it hurt me.
It's like men will do anything except go to therapy.
God, for real! Ugh.
Literally, and because of that, because he failed to go to therapy, he literally has dissociative identity disorder.
Fucking is the worst.
Yeah.
He literally had like 3 supportive friends and then like sacrificed. No, he had 4 supportive friends, sacrificed 3 of them to a volcano, and then
the other one's just
tried to
very
kill the
tired.
4th,
Yeah.
who now has a gambling addiction. So
Yeah.
like, here we
It's messed
are.
up. It's messed up, so. But that was all my notes on the translation stuff.
It's all really interesting though.
So, to Hua-Chong and Xilian.
Yes.
First I want to talk about, like, their characters separately.
Cool.
So, I really like Hua-Chong, just period, and...
Yes.
Before,
Yes.
before I, expand on that point, I like him, and I cosplayed him in our last
You did.
con.
It was really good.
It was fun. It took me forever to make that costume, but...
It turned out great though.
Yeah, because there was also a lot of other Hua-Chongs there, but most of their costumes were from, like, the Donghua, or, like, the Donghua, really,
Mm.
and mine, I made it from the original, like, web novel art,
Nice.
because I liked it the best,
That's
so I liked that a lot, but
Yeah,
anyways,
it turned out awesome.
thank you, I like him a lot, because...
I do just want to shout out my roommate who made the jewelry for
Yes,
that cosplay.
oh my gosh, it's beautiful.
It was incredible.
It's
I'm
insane.
not going to name her because I did not ask if I could do that, but like my roommate's really cool and talented. So
yeah,
like,
I'm
shout out to
super
her.
impressed by the jewelry that she made. Like, she made the boot chains and the necklace, and it looks like very, very good.
It turned out really cool.
Yeah. So if you need like custom cosplay jewelry, like reach out to us and we can hook you up.
Yeah, we can probably figure something out there. We can.
Yeah, for sure.
I can bug her enough. I'm sure I can make it work. She just took a cool jewelry making class like for the past couple of months. And she can make some really cool shit now.
That's awesome.
So, just saying.
But I like Hua-Chong because he is not a good guy.
Oh no, he's super not.
He's not a good guy. Like, he's angry. He, like, beats people up because he's angry. He hurts people that he doesn't like.
Rage.
Like, he has that wrath part, and
He is a ghost king.
Yes,
yes. Supreme. He is.
He will straight up kill people.
Yeah, no hesitation, and I appreciate that in a man.
Yeah, and like,
well, in a fictional man.
Yeah, because I said like wrath is my thing, so he embodies that while also having the duality of being able to love so deeply and selflessly and enduringly.
Yeah, I'll get to it a little more later. I have like a thing of gifts for Julien that Hua-Chong has, and one of them is a hatred and enmity for his enemies, even the ones that Julien does not hold enmity towards.
Yeah.
Like, he truly, like, has a list of everyone that has done wrong to Julien, even if Julien has, like, long since forgotten about it.
Yeah.
And he's just like, oh no, I'm coming back for you someday.
Oh, yeah.
And I will make it hurt. And he did.
Yeah.
And he very much did. It was...
But it's so relatable because it's like, you know, your family that you care about. Like, this is what I think of like, okay, like, you, like, for example, like, my sister has, like, dated people, and she's told me, like, shit that they've said or done to her, and I, like, hate them immediately.
Yeah.
But then, like, they get back together, and, like, they make amends and stuff, but I still hate that person.
It's
like,
still there. It's still there.
Because, like, you can't get over someone hurting someone you love like that. Like, you just can't get over that.
No. No, it sticks.
Yeah.
It sticks.
So, I like him a lot for that reason.
Yep. And like... it's like weirdly in the same vein because it's like, yes, he has this strong it's like a sense of righteousness to go along with that hatred, but at the same time there is this intense like softness and gentleness to him that can cut just as deep, I think.
It can.
And I love that. He's just like
that.
he can be like right there holding Julien and just being so incredibly soft and just say like just the right thing and it cuts whoever is next to him and it's just like you can be so petty.
Yeah.
And it's so good. And Julien will just be like,
the capacity.
That's so lovely of him.
Yeah.
Look at what he did. Not like oblivious to it, like full knowledge of what he just did, but he's just like, oh, my son-lang.
Yeah, and there's something cute about them.
I adore it. I love it. He fully is like, he's like, oh, I know what my son-lang can do, and I love it.
Yeah.
Because he can be just as bitchy. Julien can absolutely be just as bitchy.
100%.
And
especially
I
to Chi-Rong.
Especially to Chi-Rong.
But he's a history of being bitchy, you know?
Yes.
Like, and this brings me to my next separate point of them separately. Like, Julien's character, I really like it. I don't relate to it as much, but I really, really, really like it because he has lived for so long. He's gone through so much that he is able to feel and think and act in so many different ways depending on the situation. And there's something about that I really respect, and I like that, and I think it's also very human, of like, we are very much like, what we do depends on what's happening to us, and like, how we feel about something depends on like, what's going on. And so, like, Julien, like, changing that, like, depending on what's happening, like, after all the things that he's been through even in the present, he changes how he acts depending on what's going on. Because it's like, yeah, like, I can normally, like, be baseline this one way, but I can definitely go to, like, this whole other, I can act completely different based on, like, a changing circumstance. And I don't know, I really, really, really like that.
And I think this is in total agreement. I don't want this to sound like it's a disagreement, because it is absolutely not. Because he does very much reflect what is happening in the moment. And yet at the same time, almost all of his core actions, especially within present day, you can see the roots starting in past arcs, and then it is very much more visible in later arcs. Almost every single action you can find a root of blatant self-sacrifice. Yeah. It's like, yes, I'm doing things. It's like, oh yeah, I'm doing a thing of kindness in this one. I'm being really bitchy in this scene. I'm doing this, that, the other. And there is almost always some seed of self-sacrifice, because that has become inherent to who he is in these later days, whether because he just knows he's immortal, or because that is just like what he has taken,
what he values.
It's great when like Hua Chong shows up and he's just like, hey, you're not gonna fucking do that anymore, actually.
Right.
And watch, I'm gonna do it and see how you fucking like it.
Yeah.
And Julien is like, hey, wait, maybe don't actually. And he's like, yeah, that's my point.
Yeah.
Yep. And then they both like compete for a little while about who's gonna be more self-sacrificial, which is so funny. Yeah. But like it's such a core part of him as a character.
I agree.
That I think is so interesting in how he can play scenes and situations so differently when it all boils down to that. It's so good.
That's a good example of like, people are intrinsically, they have their traits, but like the way those are expressed can be very different depending on what's happening. And I really like that a lot. So
and I think it's a good reflection of Hua Chong, who's, I think, where Julien is almost like, to a fault, he is selfless. Hua Chong is very selfish in that everything his whole life, his whole 800 years has been about
what he loves
and in finding Julien again. And while that has led to a great many things he's done to even help people, like Ghost City has been very good for the ghost community.
A byproduct.
Yeah, it was never like, the intent was not necessarily to help these people, but to set himself up in a better position to help Julien.
Right, exactly.
So it's like, yes, he's a good person in a sense, but it's like always due to a selfish
reason.
Core.
Yeah.
Which I think is just so fascinating.
It is. It definitely is.
I love these boys. They're so good. They're such like solid characters.
Yeah.
And it's just there's always more to dig.
Yeah. And even with Xilian, like last note on his character, like arcs 1 through 3, like you get different sides of him, but you think he's like a good guy.
Yeah.
And then book 4 or arc 4, you get to where he's about to like kill everyone. Like he is about to go dark side, like Anakin Skywalker.
What do you mean about to? He fully does.
Yeah, he does. And like he's like and even then it's so like
bad.
I really like that because it shows like good people can be pushed over the edge and do horrible stuff. And that is so true. Yeah. And I think like we should as a society recognize that people are way more nuanced than black and white.
Absolutely.
So, I like that.
God, the one time he's not selfless, I think, is in that arc. That's when he fully claims like a selfishness to it, and it hurts him just as much as it hurts the things around him.
And what pulls him out of that is someone being selfless to him.
Yes,
which
it's
is very
just
cute.
one person.
Yeah. And that's powerful in it of itself. But like it's the theme of like prioritizing kindness and selflessness and everything. It's a great message, but
God,
that's good.
It hurts so bad. It's so good. It's beautiful.
Okay. Your stuff.
Okay. This one's very, very short, so I'm gonna sneak this one just fun little fact in here, and then I'll actually get into like a real like topic.
Okay.
But fun little fact that apparently all official art is considered canon, which means that all official art used in
advertising
is considered canon, which means that there is in fact canonically in this day and age a KFC located in Huachang's Ghost City.
There's KFCs everywhere. There's KFCs in the Satosugo breakup. There's KFC
in Ghost City, baby. Which I made the joke earlier that like probably what happened is Xilian was having baby cravings, and so Huachang just got a whole KFC
put one in
for
there,
him.
Yeah.
Look, the ghosts offered in one of the extras. They're like, hey, you know what you should give
Impreg pill.
Yeah, you know what you should give your hubby for his birthday?
Yeah.
This baby juice.
Yeah.
It will make you pregnant. And Julian was like, that seems like an option. I'll think about it. And then left in a panic. But we know it's out there. We know it's possible. And we know Huachang wants to impregnate his wife.
Oh, definitely.
So, that's my theory on why there's a KFC in Ghost City.
Yeah, that's a good theory. I like that.
But also, we have official art of them living in modern day and age wearing really fashionable suits.
It's cute.
So that means they're still happily together today.
As they should be.
As they
expected.
should be. So that was my fun little factoid.
Yes, thank you.
I do want to talk about lucky versus unlucky, which I think is such a fascinating dichotomy that gets brought up in the whole theme. Series. And it's really interesting because when we meet them in the present day, Xilian is extremely unlucky. Huachang is extremely lucky.
Yeah.
Xilian, we come to find out, is like unlucky because of a cursed shackle. Huachang is lucky just because of like the power he's gained and whatever. But we go back to their original histories, and
it was swapped.
Yeah, Xilian was incredibly lucky upon birth. Huachang was incredibly unlucky upon birth because of like the positions they were born into.
Yeah.
However, I propose and have discussed with media multiple times that was not in fact the case, and that Xilian has always been unlucky, and the bad luck did not come from the cursed shackle at all, but was naturally his, and Huachang was in fact lucky from birth.
Yeah.
Just, you know, it
was
took
a bit delayed.
It just took a bad form at first.
I like that theory because it explains a lot of what happens.
Exactly. So like I took a few notes here. I can breeze through this super quick because I know we are starting to run out of time. But so, like, Xilian was considered lucky. He was beloved by all, including the gods. He was a prince. He had good friends. Studying came easy to him, that kind of stuff. However, he was actually born under an ominous star that they just kind of
ignore.
They just claimed it as his lucky star. They were just like, this is actually good, whatever. But in his position and being born under this star and born as a prince, he caught the eye of Junwoo immediately.
And that fucked him over.
That was bad luck number one. He ascends extremely young, which means he doesn't have any know-how,
which
doesn't
is
have any...
interpreted as lucky.
Yeah, everyone's like, oh, that's good, look how lucky he is that he ascended, but he doesn't have any experience, doesn't have any knowledge, doesn't know how to do anything, and no one's advising him anymore.
Yeah.
Because Jun was like, haha, go fuck it up.
Yeah.
He lost his kingdom extremely young, and his kingdom turned on him.
Obviously unlucky.
Everything he did to make it better only made it worse.
Yep.
His friends left.
Yep.
Some of that was pushed by him, some of it was not. That's a whole hot mess in and of itself, but they did leave.
There was
his
issues.
family killed themselves.
Yeah, his parents killed themselves.
And so then then we add the shackle to it, which only basically just compounded what he already had.
Yeah.
Now, Hua Chong was said to be unlucky. He was born under a bad star, supposedly so cursed that his family shouldn't love him. He was abandoned on the streets.
He had like a birth defect.
Yeah, and then he falls off the wall at the parade.
Yeah.
Now, however, because he was up on the wall and he fell off, that is what led him to meet Jillian in the first place.
Jillian caught him.
Exactly. Like, that's incredibly...
lucky.
how else would he have ever met
Survived
the prince?
that.
And then he... managed to meet up with the prince again multiple times. He met his god multiple times. And then even after he died, he was able to continue to meet Jillian.
And survive.
And he survived multiple things he shouldn't have as a ghost. And continued to gain great power in death, which then compounded that luck further. So it's just like, ugh. And then there, just as a subnote of this, the moment after the Lanshan Shou moment when Jillian was being sealed in the coffin, at the very least in the Danghua, we see that Hua Chong was like literally minutes away from finding Jillian there. Yeah. He was outside the cave when he was being sealed inside, but like Jillian's bad luck sentenced him to be trapped in the coffin. But Hua Chong's luck got him that close.
Exactly.
So it's like, that's good. Who really had the bad luck and the good luck? Yeah. And it's not where you think it should be according to what the story tells you it should be. Yeah. Which I think is just such a fascinating thing.
I like that. Concept. I like that for sure.
And then one other little... This is just, I think, such a fun little thing talking about their weapons and how their weapons interact with them and then with each other. Because their weapons have personalities, for those of you who have not read it. They're spiritual weapons, and they're wonderful, and how they were created is upsetting, but also... Very upsetting. Yeah, because, like, Jillian has a strip of silk cloth called roye, or something akin to that. That's how I had said it, roye. And
I thought it's Royu, but I don't know.
It ends with an E, so I think it's... I don't know. There's no way to know. I haven't looked at the glossary in a minute. But it's a strip of silk cloth that can stretch almost infinitely, can draw people in, shoot them out, bind them. He uses it sometimes as a gag. Usually just uses it to, like, apprehend people instead of having to, like, actually fight them, because he's kind of sworn off killing as best he can. But you come to find out in like arc 4 that it's the strip of cloth that his parents used to hang themselves together.
So he's carrying that with him and like regularly using it.
Carries it with him everywhere.
Like after his parents do that and like the cloth becomes a spiritual weapon, like it wants to protect him. So it definitely has like the spirits of his parents in that, and it's like, oh my god. It's so emotional.
So it's born of like pain and tragedy and sacrifice, because his parents like killed themselves so that Jillian wouldn't feel weighed down or like beholden to them anymore.
I hate that reason for killing yourself. Right. If we're talking about suicide, trigger warning, suicide.
Oh god, yeah, my bad, y'all. So
I
we
really
can put that in
that logic.
We should put that in the
I'll
notes.
put it in the notes. But I hate that logic of like, oh, I'm a burden to someone, I'm gonna kill myself. Like, that's not for you to decide. That's for them to decide.
God, there was so much going on in that like, it was just like 4 pages. So much happened in like 4 pages.
Yeah, like, he was not better off without his parents.
Not at all.
Like, it really fucked him up and caused him to mass murder everybody. Like,
Yup.
So I feel very passionate about this, but if you are feeling like a burden to people, like, ask them and trust that they're honest with you, because it's their responsibility to be honest. And if they're not honest, that's their problem. That's not your problem. So I'm off of that. But Hua Chong's weapon. Yiming.
Summing up with Roy, born from pain, tragedy, and sacrifice, but is still a more playful and kind, like, energy. He is, it is very like sweet and also
cuddly.
It's a very cuddly weapon, which is very sweet. Hua Chong's weapon is a Ming, a scimitar. Thank you.
I love that kind of sword.
It's so cool. It has an eyeball in it that will, like, look around, and will kind of purr when Jillian pets it. It was also born in a form of sacrifice, but out of protection. Which, when a little ghost, I believe he was already Wrath at the time, little ghost, not yet too powerful Hua Chong, was kind of traveling, found a little set of humans that he decided to protect, and then in a moment of danger to them, he pulled out his own eye. Gouged out his own eye, stuck it in, and, like, used that to form this weapon. To protect these people. I would imagine. To create this weapon, a Ming. So it acts kind of young and craves, like, attention and approval, especially from Jillian.
And it's shy sometimes.
It's so shy, and then, like, one time it accidentally hurt Jillian. Not its fault. Jillian interfered.
It was
but
very distressed.
It was, like, shaking, and, like, Hua Chong was also upset because Hua Chong was blaming himself, so he just kind of slapped the sword. And Jillian was like, "Don't hit it!" What did it do? And it was
definitely,
just like,
that's how Hua Chong treats himself.
I mean, it's very much like he considers himself like a younger version of himself, so he takes his anger out, and it's just like, baby boy, no. And Jillian is like, I'm not taking any of that shit. No, I'm going to soothe the sword and tell both of you that I'm fine. And
they're like,
their weapons are, like, so indicative kind of their own histories.
Definitely, and I like that.
And I think, me
but
too.
You don't know until later. And
God, it takes so long to get
was
there.
Like, talking about them, I was like, I can't tell you. I can't tell you.
Especially when they drop, like, a little foreshadowing note, they'd be like, I think Pei Ming at some point makes some reference to, like, your scarf is, like, real nifty. Like, I should get one of those. And Jillian is like,
no.
In his head is something like, if you knew how, maybe not. And then I was like, what does that mean? What does that mean?
It's not good, it's bad.
I think also, like, we've talked about how Hua Chong is, like, selfish based, but in doing so is, like, all about Jillian. He's selfish via Jillian. I have a whole list of, like, different things he's given to Jillian, his list of gifts. I know we're, like, over time, but I will make this so fast.
You can make the list because I'm gonna do my list of quotes.
Hell yeah. So gifts for Jillian include Paradise Manor, a fully stocked armory of beautiful and powerful weapons.
That was pretty cool.
The red thread that connects them, that they use sort of as wedding rings.
The red string of fate.
It's wonderful, it's incredible, and it can connect them at all times, even through solid objects. All the knowledge he's gathered, he always has an answer for any question Jillian has.
He's like a walking dictionary.
It's incredible. I talked about earlier, his hatred is a gift. Spiritual power, because Jillian, with his cursed shackles, does not have his own spiritual power, and the way he shares it is with a kiss. They do make out quite frequently with the excuse of getting
spiritual power.
So people are like, "Hey guys, what you doing?" And Jillian's like, getting spiritual power," and they're like, "Oh, is that all? Are you sure?" And he's like, "Totally. I can't say that with a straight face. Don't worry about it."
Side note, it's so funny when they do that in front of Chuan Yi-zhen, and he's like, confused Pikachu face, and there's a meme that's like when Guan Yi-zhen, like, figures out, like, kissing is transferring spiritual power and thinks he can do that with Yin Yu.
Yes! Oh my god. God, I wanted to do that. He's like, no, it's fine. I want to do it. Like, I
so
need some
funny.
spiritual
His
power.
brain cells working overtime.
God, what does he call Yin-Yu? What's the title?
Shizong.
Shizong, yes. Thank you.
Shizong.
I kept wanting to say Shidi, but I knew that was the wrong way round.
Yeah, Shizong.
He helps him rebuild Pucci Shrine, which is where Jillian lives.
Yeah, that's good.
There's also physical worship.
Body worship.
Some body worship. He gives him 3,000 lanterns, so he wins the lantern competition at the festival.
Yep.
Builds him the 10,000 statues of the 10,000 statues of the 10,000 god cave.
Yeah.
Builds the Temple of 1,000 Lights, which is where the lanterns all come from. And then also the gift of familiarity and companionship. He calls him Guga all the time.
Yeah, that's very cute.
Which I adore, which in another of the extras, there's Jillian gets amnesia due to fighting
I heard
one
about
of them.
that
and
one.
Jillian thinks, because he's in his like Sanlong form, so he's younger.
Uh-huh.
Or no, rather he's in his Hwachong form, so he looks older. And he's like, maybe, it's fine, you can just call me Guga. And he's like, okay, Guga. And he's just like, oh, that did a thing for me, actually. Wait a minute, hang on. And so Jillian calls Hwachong Guga, and he's just
nice.
oh no. Oh, I've learned something about myself. Oh no.
It's so funny. Their dynamic
so
is great.
cute.
They are both switches.
They really are.
I really like reading fic of Hwachong like as the sub because he just has that devotion.
Yeah, I mean, we know he would.
We
know he would.
Yeah. It's, side note, but
yeah, no, you're so.
That's a great list of gifts.
Yeah, and we don't get as many like overt gifts for Hwachong, but it's more that like there's the kindness, the genuine interest, the familiarity. In calling him Sanlong instead of Hwachong.
Yeah.
There's the desire for him as he is, no matter which form he's in. And then there's jealousy, because he is jealous of himself when Hwachong talks about his beloved, and he's like, oh, that's so nice that Sanlong has someone like that.
It's like, who is this? I just want to talk.
That's great, Sanlong. Anyway, I'm gonna go cry now.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's my notes.
Okay.
I have my fave scenes, but it's fine. We can talk about those in any of the other episodes we're gonna have on this topic.
Yeah, literally like one arc episode.
Yeah,
like,
we can
talk about it then.
Absolutely.
I'm also limiting myself.
I know, there's like so much I could keep talking about with them.
Yeah, I guess like limiting my quotes as well. For them as a couple, like one of my favorite quotes is, only after I met you did I discover like how like it's such a simple thing to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like that because it is a simple thing to be happy if you like perceive it that way and like have something that you're grateful for and something you value, and having somebody that does that for you is much easier, but it is like
it can help ease the way.
Yeah, it eases the way. That's exactly what it is. So that's really good. One of my favorite parts, and I was so happy because this recently got animated in the season 2, is when Hwachong beats up Chi-Rong in the cave. That's like one of my favorite parts. Like that
it's
whole
so
fucking
satisfying.
Part. It's great because like Hwachong shows up and Chi-Rong is like sees him, and Hwachong grabs his head. And I'm reading it from the book right now, smacks it down hard like a child playing with a ball. Like, he's that powerful. He just smacks his head down into the ground. And he's like, and who the fuck are you to be so insolent before me? I'm
God,
like,
it's so good.
Big dick
Fuck
energy.
Chi-Rong. All the homies hate Chi-Rong.
Yeah. And then there's...
I have
like,
thouts about Chi-Rong, but we'll get into that another time.
That's another book. And then Hwachong is just so fucking funny. Like,
he is.
There's a part where he is like kind of like hijacking the Heaven group chat by like tapping into Jillian's like forehead or whatever, and he's like, long time no see. How are all of you doing? I don't know about any of you, but I haven't thought about any of y'all at all. Like,
how's everyone doing? I haven't thought about you in forever.
It's so funny.
He's like, does anyone want to like fight me again? And everyone like immediately is just like busy, red.
They're like,
not here.
Left the chat. It's so funny.
God.
And then one of my also like favorite parts of the whole thing is said to Pei Ming. He says this to Pei Ming because it's like in the Blackwater arc, and they're trying to figure out how to get off this island, and they have to make coffins, and there has to be a dead body on the coffins. And so, like, they come in, and, like, they've been in a coffin, and Pei Ming is like, how did the coffin work for you? Like, don't you need a dead body or whatever? And then Hua Chong says, if you're so concerned with who's dead, I suggest you go kill yourself.
He's so rude to Pei Ming. He
literally said, go kill yourself.
God, he's so mean.
I usually don't find that funny, but like
the timing of it, and just like Pei Ming being such an ass.
Like it is directed at Pei Ming. Like,
and they had like just climbed out of a coffin where it was so clear that they had both been
my God.
so awkward because they were like pressed front to front in this coffin.
That coffin scene.
And they both got in the coffin and they were like, "Did we have to make this so tight? Oh no!"
Did I send you the fic of the coffin scene?
Probably. I have not gone through all the fics that you and Mimi have sent me. There's so many fics that y'all have sent me that I haven't read yet.
Yeah, it's so funny.
But God.
That's amazing. And it's just so funny. It's like one of the like modern humor inserted into that book, and it's amazing.
She's like, hey, Pei, fuck yourself.
Go
Get
fuck yourself.
out of here.
Go kill yourself.
Don't talk to me. And it's funny because like everyone pretty much knows at that time. Like Hua Chong had been disguising himself to not.
Yeah, everyone
be
like
that he's a ghost.
Key,
but like everyone knows he's a ghost.
Yeah,
like they all know
knows
he's a dead body,
Rain's on
therefore
fire,
making the coffin a coffin. So Pei Ming was just like, haha, don't you need like a dead body? Haha, lol. And he's like, hey Pei,
go kill
fuck yourself. Get out of here. Don't talk to me.
I hate you.
I'll kill you in your sleep.
Oh my God, the sass is unmatched.
Oh my God.
It's
And Julianne was just like, don't look at me.
It's so iconic.
I'm begging you, don't look at me.
It's like, when do you see characters say shit like that? Like, that's not a meme. That's like completely serious. Like, it's so funny.
He was just so embarrassed.
It's amazing.
Oh, the big mean Supreme Ghost King was embarrassed.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh my gosh.
baby.
Okay. But I think that's all I had.
I mean, I could keep going for like 8 million years.
Yeah, we definitely did
but
talk about everything. This is just a like summary of it all.
We'll figure out if we're gonna do by arc or by like ship, or probably arc seems like the best way to do it.
I guess.
Because then that will, because like if I want to talk about
I think
like
arc is good. Yeah, specific ships that are in a specific
they'll be
arc.
yeah. Because like if I want to talk about like
they're usually confined to an arc. So
yeah.
Okay, that sounds good.
That seems like the best way. The only one who won't
Yeah.
really fit in is like Chi-Rong, and that guy sucks, so he'll show up everywhere.
Yes, funny.
God, fucking Chi-Rong. But we'll, yeah, I think probably arc is the best way to handle it from here on out.
But
now that we've covered the big...
Let us know if you disagree, if you think there's a better way that we can break
Fight
it
us.
down.
Fight us on it.
Yeah, please let us know. Let us know, like, your takes on TGCF, like, what characters you like, what parts you like. Yeah, let us know.
Yeah. Come talk to us. We will talk about this for so long and about so many things.
Yeah.
Please talk to us.
Join our Discord to talk about us, which you can find on the Patreon, which is in the notes. Pretty easy to navigate, so...
Just a $1 tier. That's it.
Yeah, and you can, like, suggest episode topics for us to
totally.
do. Like, we'll probably move it to the top of the list if someone suggests it and we've both seen it. So.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, so... Sounds good. Thank y'all for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Adios.